Yahoo! Prof here, and we're making a quick video for you guys. I got approximately a half hour until a vulnerability scan I am running finishes up that people are wanting the results for, and I have a box that I want to take the contents of with me to work tomorrow. Give me 2 seconds here to get this cut open. Somebody reused a Slamazon box. What? A headset? I had no idea this even existed. Apparently it was done by a Kickstarter. You're like, what? Why do we care about headset? You don't use headsets. I mean, I kind of do. Here you go, I got my... Still gotta wrap that thing. Found that I do have some wrap. I also have my MMX 300 from Dynamics still. Probably, arguably, one of the best wired headsets. And probably the only other wired headset I still own that isn't like earbuds with a mic is the original HyperX Clouds. I wanted a sparkly water, and the only thing I had was a table size San Pellegrino. So that's what we're drinking from. So I bought this off of Slamazon. Slamazon. Or sorry, not Amazon. Sorry, eBay. Bought it off eBay. You can see right there that it was purchased off of Amazon. I got this thing for 20 bucks. This headset is the 008. The James Donkey mouse that I first found them from was the 007. Highly customizable. It was actually one of the things that was like pushed me towards going into industrial design for schooling, right? And you're like, but you do IT. I do indeed. Apt observation, sir. I've been doing IT for what? Since I was 14? Roughly? I want to say that long. Definitely 16. But this is a headset. Looks awesome. I love James Donkey designs. They are not the best. The designs are the best, I think. They're awesome. Here you can see here. 008 Tactical Master Gaming Headset. And the lines next to the 008 are very similar to what they use on some of the 007 ones. Like, not the mouse 007, but like, you know, James Bond sort of stuff. Tech specs, chip scheme, SSS 1700. No idea. It does have Virtual 7.1 out of its USB-C cable, I believe. 53 millimeter dynamic driver, which is unexpected because 40 mil is kind of your standard 32 ohm speaker size, 40 millimeter, right? Some of the noise canceling, on average for like a headset, over your headset, 40 millimeter is also about as big as you can get without making like oversized ear cups. So some of the like Bluetooth ones with noise canceling have gone down to 30 millimeters. Because they need more room for electronics, because with noise canceling, you actually need like microphones in the earpiece and on the outside and stuff like that. You need room for all of that, right? So a lot of those are 30 millimeters. So the fact that this is a 53 millimeter, that doesn't just make it good. Bigger millimeter, not necessarily better if it can't be driven, right? Virtual 7.1, We'll see. If it shows up as Windows as a 2-channel, it'll probably be garbage, and I just turn it off. If it actually shows up to Windows as 7.1, and then the chip down samples it to, like stereo, because there's only 2 speakers in here, actually the correct way to do it. Because you either want the game to send surround, and the chip in there to do this, what do I call that, stereo? I can't remember the term, but basically the positioning, because with 2 speakers you can actually make it sound like a surround setup. You just have to do it correctly. But you either want your PC to do the virtual surround natively, like either even in the game if it can, or Windows, or if the device is going to do it, right, you want Windows to think it's sending out surround, and then the headphones or the box for the headphones or the software for the headphones to do that down stereoscopic. That doesn't sound right either. If you know the term I'm thinking of, throw it down in the comments. It is like, started to scan at midnight 30, and they're about 2 hours, so we're pretty close. So I thought, I want to bring these tomorrow. Let's get this video made. Max 30 milliwatt power. No idea if that's good or not. Mic sensitivity -22, so it's louder on the USB-C than it is the 3.5 mil. Weird. Detachable mic 2.2, USB A to C by 1 Type-C to 3.5 millimeter. No idea. 300 grams plus or minus 15 grams. More stuff. China. James Donkey seal of approval. Yeah, this is only $20. I think when new these were 80 to 90. I think the best deal on Kickstarter might have been $80 one. At one point, they went on sale on Amazon for $60. So as long as these things are working correctly, I got a banger deal on it. Aviation inspired headset. Yeah, I call them like helicopter headphones. That's what they look like to me. 7-point run surround sound for accurate positioning and gaming. Hopefully that's turn offable if it's not great. Or you just use 3.5 millimeter. I didn't expect to get the box, by the way. Accessory box. 008 Tactical Master. Tactical Master. These look like shooting. That's actually a nice finish. Volume up, down? Maybe? Kind of loose. That's where the mic goes in. It does still rotate. Interesting. Doesn't click in. Oh, we got mic mute on the bottom. Look at that native USB-C. These are a little dirty on this side. You can see there's like a... Is that from... Oh, because they fold up. Except do they? This one folded up. I don't know that one has enough slack to. So that's why that ear cup mark is there. And I don't know if I'll be able to take it off because they fold up like this. And they fold up the other way too. And Miller's actually... Oh, maybe you gotta extend that guy. Then yes, they could fold up this way as well. But that's what that mark is for on the side, is from this sort of like... They did get it right, as in... Like, well, what did they get right? What are you talking about? You have the leather on the outside to keep the base in, right? And to keep structure, because it's stiffer. And then on the inside, you have the cloth. And that's better feel on the head. So they got that right. There were piss poor reviews of these. I didn't care though, because James Donkey. Some people said the ear cups were not big enough for these. I have some pretty big dangly ears, and I would disagree. They fit like a lot of like racing headphones and or shooting headphones where you kind of just here, let's put it in the wide. Where this just kind of in logging it says it's needed, right? So you kind of just put them on your head. They're gonna be too long and you pull them down like this, right? And you kind of just go like this and cinch it back up. And there's just enough friction to keep it there. They're super lightweight. I might have to find a way to get that texture off that one side. I was kind of pumped that they were the yellow, and this is the exact yellow I want. James Donkey knows the exact kind of yellow that one should have. Okay, we got our accessory box here. We got our 2 cables. Looks like they never used... Here's our microphone with the bendy rubber over the metal. Now that does mean it's just a 4-pole mic, which is interesting because they wouldn't need 4 poles unless it's balanced. So why does it... I don't know why this side spins. This side might just spin because this side spins. I didn't feel like designing something different. I'll have to see if I can wipe off the texture that was left by this ear cup. Mute and unmute. You gotta be careful with this kind because they will droop every time you put it on. So you have to like grab these and pull them up. If you ever had the Plantronics Gamecom Commanders, which are based off of... wow, that is not long enough. I kind of liked that it was short, right? And that it kind of angled it to you, right? You know, kind of like this. But, I mean, I do have a bigger head. I will admit that. However, I don't think no amount of bigger head, because you want the microphone on the corner of your mouth here, right? And if you're in a very loud scenario, like say you were actually at a shooting range, or especially like a racetrack, if you watch Formula 1, NASCAR, they have this thing like right here. Now in gaming, you wouldn't want that because you will hear the breathing, but because a lot of people are on open mic or what do you want to call it? Like auto detect mic, right? In those, they have push to talk for all of it. They'll have like 4 buttons up here for push to talk. So they want it like, that's why it's angled like this. You know, they want it right up here. Now, generally, if you're running a gaming headset, right? So I may have to get myself a little extension if I actually plan on using this, because like a little like kind of flexible 4-pole 3.5 millimeter. To be truthful, with all the weird shit that's on Amazon, it might very well be accessible. But part of why I know a lot of people said the mic sounded like shit, it is a goddamn mile away from your mouth. Same thing. How do you get better photos? You get more light. The answer is not a better camera necessarily. Step 1 is get more light. Step 1 for a microphone in getting it better quality is getting it closer to your mouth hole where the mouth noises are coming out. So as much as I wanted to applaud this for having like, because a lot of mics actually, or a lot of headphones actually have too long of a mic, and it ends up like right under your nose or right in front of your mouth. And unless you have, and then people put it under their chin and they'll hit it there, or your beard will scratch it, or you'll put it right under your nose and like you'll breathe right into it. One thing you definitely want is the reason why you want it over here, at least when you're doing this like normally, is because here, when you breathe, your exhale through your nose would not hit it on the side of your mouth over here. Whereas if you're banging it in the middle, best be careful. So I'm probably gonna have to find like this sort of flexible in you know, your 3.5mm 4-pole, just to get this thing out about the length that it is. It could have been twice as long. Now the one cable that they had previously used, it looks like, is a Type C on this end to 3.5mm on this end, which is interesting that that's even an option. It is a 4-pole USB or Type C. Now on this end, it's actually a Type C, right, to USB A on this end. I don't see where the 7.1 audio is, right? Unless it's native USB-C and the amp and everything, like the USB DAC and amp, is in here. Yeah, this sort of vent too. That is very much like a pair of... So I might have to get a real long... I want to see if I use this with my own cable. Like, I doubt the DAC amp is in there. And then what this is, I don't know if that's proprietary or if that's just a glorified USB-C to USB-A DAC amp in that cable somehow. Or if using that specific cable, you know, makes it function. Tactical wired headset user's manual. USB-A, USB-A to C, microphone mute, detaching earmuffs. Yeah, there's really not much here. What do we got here? Detachable earmuffs, so it's like ear cups. Master volume knob. Microphone volume knob. That's kind of cool. So that's why the one around the microphone spins. Microphone volume. Microphone mute 2-stage. What? I guess on and off are 2 stages. Because there's not a in between. I guess 2-stage. For mute 2-stage mute, I would think like you have like a minus 20 dB that mutes it, because that's technically mute. Mute is lowering the sound volume by often 40 dB, right? Like an audio receiver, stuff like that, right? And then the that's why I would think 2-stage. You know, one would be off and one might be. I've never seen that before on a microphone on a headset, but James Donkey's weird. They do weird stuff, right? Yeah, just detachable earmuffs, that USB cable. Don't fix it. 53mm drive unit, volume knob, RGB lantern effect. That USB-C might be proprietary then, unless there's an. Does anybody know if there's an analog standard, like USB-C carrying analog audio to 3.5mm? Because if there is, this may use it, right? Otherwise, what would be really annoying is if this was proprietary, because what I'm thinking about is the USB 3.5mm to C adapter couldn't be in this cable. It just looks like a cable, right? But it also couldn't be in the headphones, because to my knowledge, there is no battery in them. And that's why like the AirPods Pro Maxes still use battery even in wired mode, is because this can't power the DAC that technically would convert the USB-C digital to analog. If that's making any sense. This may be something where I have to email them because I don't mention anything on it. For now, we may just stick to the inbox cables so I don't wreck anything. Let's get that USB-A out. Or should we do USB-C or USB 3.5 mil? If we do 3.5 mil, we're gonna need some adapters. Like this guy. Because I only have a 1/4 inch on there. One second. Please wait. Be-doo, be-doo, be-doo. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Beep. Gotta wonder how horrible these sound with how horrible they're... See, this has got to be USB-C, though, because it doesn't matter what way the connector is plugged in. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to email them, though, because I do have an arrow. Oh, it is... Even though this is USB-C, it only fits in one way. What about this end? Same thing. There's a taper on the connector. If you can see that, like here, lower, there, higher. So even though it's the USB-C connector, this is a very James Donkey thing to do. Is make your fucking... Yeah, so it doesn't even fit in wrong. I'm still probably going to email them to see if I can use a standard USB-C. Yeah. My ear cup is coming apart a little bit in the corner. Alright. I thought I heard that through the headphones. No. There you go, 6.3 millimeter. I have it on low gain. I have the speakers off. Yeah, let's just pop open FooBar and see. Geez, it worked right away, except it didn't. It's loud. We got some electric move going on right now. Like, there's a lot of bass, I think. I mean, it works for the song, but... Ooh, there's not much high in there. There you go, Silent Pimp Sessions. Let's see what we... One of my test tracks is Silent Pimp Sessions, Brothers and Sisters. The first track on them, Love Immediately. It's got some great... dark. Oh, bassy. The things don't carry as well too. Let's keep going volume up. All right. Nice thing about the DX9 is I can do dual output to all the headphone outputs and do quick swaps. The notes carry way longer on these. Everything's lifted up. It would be more in the R70XAs. I think we're missing a bit of the hi-hat on there. These are very dark and hollow comparatively. Let's go with another track here. They're very dark. Listening to Wonderland, which is the first track off of Vampire from 9mm Parallel Bullet. It should be very sharp. The vocals are far more forward on the Sonys. I mean, we're talking hundreds of dollars of headset, though. Headphone. For a bit there, it all transitions into kind of like everything collapses a little bit. I wonder how this handles it. This is very busy. Oh. Oh. It's like recessed. Alright, so all I'm going to say so far is $20. They're still pretty awesome. What I've spent, what they originally cost on it, I don't know about that. All right, so you can see here, ear cup easily comes off. Is that magnetic? Like it pops off like magnetic ear cups. Like they have all the design right, and I to be truthful, wouldn't say sound is not bad. I would have to get out the original, like this. I don't even think these are technically available. That's why I'd buy them used. They're no longer listed on Amazon. So this, I think they did the Kickstarter in 2019. So this isn't even something that you guys necessarily have to be like aware of necessarily. I just bought them because I like James Donkey's products and I liked how these were designed. I thought the mic would be, like when they showed it off on this, it is definitely too short, especially with how it angles this way. You need that straight angle when it's that far away because you want it here. You're not getting it. The reason why you would have that here is because it's in front of your mouth hole, right? Your face place. You know, I'm pretty sure that these vents in the back here are fake. Not that that's bad, but they're, I don't see how anything would go through those. What I'm next interested in is the USB cable here and how it presents itself to Windows. Not that I'm like disappointed, but like I said, this is exactly showing that just because it's got 53mm drivers, which are bigger than your average pair of headphones, doesn't mean jack a diddle and squat. And sadly in this video you will not get, yeah, they like purposely recessed that USB-C so it can't take a standard USB-C. So my guess is they got some funky wiring where, because what do these have, 12 or 16 pins or something? And it can't go wrong. So my guess is they've used some funky wiring where they've stolen four pins for the analog output and are using the other 4 to 5. You know, like 5? There's only 4 USBs. Yeah, there's the ground. There's another one, which is the thing around it. That's the shielding on the cable, actually. So there's actually 5 wires, per se, unless you're looking at micro B. Then there is 5. Yeah, this thing likes to imbalance to the... And you're like, oh, that's a horrible design. No, I've had, you know, like, real... like earmuff headphones that do this, and these may look like you know, like pew pew shooting headphones or you know, like actual like noise isolating headphones. No more than usual. Like there isn't anything in there besides the physicalness of it that is blocking anything. Cable's awfully short. That might be a 6-foot, especially when most people, for their headphones, either at minimum need to go on the front of their PC case. Mine's down here. Me getting over here that's tight. A lot of people need to go down the back. Oh my god! Here is the side of my mouth hole where things like, what I mean is like up here. This is all this much needs that much more length to it, which is basically the length of the mic, to get in front of the mouth hole over here. So a lot of this mic sounding poor may just be because it's not in front of your mouth. Okay, we got 008 headset. All right, let me grab you guys off the camera stand here. Zoom you in. So it does say 008 headset, which is good because that is one thing that James Hockey tends to do is actually pay to get their USB devices renamed and stuff like that. So this is just showing up as a 4-pole out of the gate. Levels, microphone. So it's just looking like a USB-C to USB-A adapter effectively. 16-bit 48 kilohertz, nothing special. Configure speakers, only stereo. Yeah, so it's got this bullshit virtual surround that you can't turn off if you use the USB cable. Mic check, 1, 2. The Brio is picking it up, which is it's the webcam I use purely because of facial unlock. What's the other? This brand now has some. The that one now has some. I can't read that from Nexigo. I still can't read it. I know what it says though. Nexigo does have some that do the facial unlock. I don't know if they use the Sony Starvis sensor though. But that thing's been around forever. And then they don't call it the Brio anymore. They just call it the Logitech 4. It's like the C920. That for Logitech, they've engineered it once. It does what it's supposed to do. It was basically the only dedicated facial unlock for Windows forever. One of the only 4K webcams for forever. And it functions as a webcam. So until it stops functioning as a webcam, I don't plan on replacing it. You know? This is literally not even picking up my voice, and I'm talking much louder than I normally do because I'm wearing these headphones, and it is at 84. Let's pop it up to 100. We got Audacity popping up here. Make sure when you get Audacity that you cap yourself at 2.42. That was the last one before they got bought out and captured all your data, and it's Audacity. Like, what else do you need to do? Okay, it's fine. Wasapi, mono, 00 headset. Mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2, mic check. Do we have it muted? Mic check 1 2, mic check. We did have her muted. This is at 100%, and we are not even hitting. What you want to be at is -15. -15. Unless I talk at it, we get up to -12 when I point my mouth at it. All right, so we're checking out the microphone on the computer, and I'm super quiet. Now I should be considerably louder. We're at about -12 or just below. Now we are a bit louder yet even. So what I've found is that the volume here is yes, it's adjustable via this knob. However, you can see right there that the microphone levels when you adjust this are not adjusting, and I'm probably peaking right now, right? So, and it goes up to about here. So you actually want Windows at 100%. The reason being is then you would adjust the actual mic volume via this sort of thing here. The one weird thing I did find out with the volume, if you might be able to see on the bottom, is though it clicks, it's also opposite what you would think. And I think that's because it's a knob. Like normally you would twist to the right for up and twist to the left for down. It is still, but you have to like think about it like you're facing the headphone, twist to the right, facing the headphone, and it goes up. Like it's as if the knob was on the side of the headphone instead of on the front. I think since it's on the front, it should be reversed, personally. But here's something I will show you. If you can watch way, way down there, I know this is at 4K and hard to see. But if you see that it jumps, and you see how it jumps halfway, like it goes 16, 18, 24, 30. And that is because even though this has clicks, I'm pretty sure the rotary encoder in here is actually just a free spinning rotary encoder. right? Like on your mouse wheel that has certain steps, except it doesn't have steps. The clicks are added in at a different point in time, where you just see it teleporting. And you'll see it halfway through the clicks on it, it will go to a different number, which is very interesting. The other thing that I've found is that this thing is like 16 is moderately loud. You know, if we go here, right, 16 is moderately loud. That means there's it could be a amp impedance, like a headphone amp impedance, compared to the headphones, because this thing at 100% would be, I think I had it at like 16ish. I'm like, holy shit, it's loud. You need to size the amp and the amp's output impedance for the headphones and the volume level that you are looking to achieve. The other thing we're going to try here is I'm going to take off the headphones, flip around the mic, because it is just a 3.5 millimeter 4-pole, and I'm going to put it up right in front of my mouth. I'm definitely peaking. Let's talk now. We can turn it way, way, way down, and I wonder, we're a little bit above -15. Let's knock it down one more notch. How are we here? Because I have a feeling if you could get yourself in front of this mic, it would be considerably better. And I'm right in front. Let's try and put it where I would want to put it. So this is kind of on the side of my mouth here. Does this sound better than it did when it was on my head? Let me know. I have a feeling it needs much less amplification, which is usually the source of a lot of crappy mic noise. So I don't know if I would recommend necessarily people buy these. I think they look cool. Mic does need to be longer to get to the correct portion of your mouth to actually speak into, right? The fact that the 7.1, and now that you're seeing my screen, we can go over here to the 7.1, and wow, this mic is very sensitive, as in if I just adjust where I am speaking a little bit, it changes. So yes, it would have been much beneficial. Much beneficial. It would be considerably beneficial to be able to get this thing actually in the correct placement on your faceplate. But if we go to the speakers over here, yep, really tiny 4K screen. We're only at 16. Then the interesting thing, though, is the microphone part of this. Is that for side tone, maybe? I wonder. Does this have built-in side tone, or is that something that Windows possibly added? I don't forget I gotta crank this way up. Yeah, that's built-in side tone. Wow. Am I crazy? Did Windows 11 just natively had this, or is this something that they actually, like James Donkey, actually put into their headphones? If so, props to them. It is rare for even your average gaming headset to have side tone, and you really should have it, because then you actually know what you sound like, you know what your levels are. You can actually hear yourself without having to talk louder over the headphones themselves, right? That is awesome. I guess I haven't plugged in a USB headset in it for a while into an up-to-date Windows 11. Maybe I'll have to try the Sony's and see if they have side tone as well now, because that was a major complaint. Bass boost, virtual, that's all just like built-in Microsoft jazz. Spatial surround, yeah, should we add spatial surround? Because remember, this isn't something that has your Atmos, your DTS certification. By the way, they're on my head again, if the quality of the mic changed. And I had to crank them all the way up. Maybe we can put it one notch down. But Oh wow, the one notch down goes way lower. But since Windows is not aware that these have spatial surround, like Virtual 7.1, you could layer it on top of that even more. I mean, I think this was 2019, so that's like 6 years ago now. I do think that they're actually comfortable on my head. The people said that these weren't comfortable. I don't know what you're talking about. They're actually quite lightweight. The ear cups are big enough to fit my like I know people with bigger ears than me, but I got the big flappy earlobes, decently sized ears. The drivers are bigger, which makes the cups bigger. Um, you know, uh, at the price I paid for it, as a kick around headset, not too bad. I am gonna message them to see if like what is with this USB C, because you should have just used USB C. It has like you could have just made this a native USB C device. I have some from Google or that are made for Google certified, and they just plug straight in the USB C and they just work as headphones. That or there are standards for having this like analog or digital to analog conversion on the USB-C standard. I mean, right now, let's bring over the Sam. Oh, PP, no! I mean, look at the levels here. That's where I would normally be talking into the Q9U. Yeah, I'll be talking past it like this, and that's what you're used to hearing. Let me hit pause on the Audacity, or stop, and then let's switch over to the where are you? I'm blind. There you go. So that would be our Q9U. Not that you guys are hearing it in. I can only mute. I can't change what is in the screen recording. But you can see there we're much more consistent. I might even have this because I'd normally be smooth green tea. Yeah, I normally have this like this here. Might even have it a touch loud compared to, but it's only at 65. So, now this is a multi-$100 headphone. I also wouldn't recommend the Q9U. I don't necessarily like how it sounds. But until it breaks or I get another microphone that is better, it serves my purpose. It mounts to the arm the way I like, and until they do like a what is it, an SM8. Mic. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. That's useless. I typed in common. Here, I have a screen recording. I typed in podcast mic common. There should be one at the very tippy fucking top of this. Let's do radio broadcast mic. Shure SM7B. Yep. So until they make one of those, and I think they technically have a configuration that works like this, but a USB one. And you're like, why do you want a USB one? XLR is better, yada yada. You can do more with a mixer, yada yada. Yeah, but I can't just plug it into a USB port on my computer and use it, which that can. And it's in the same type of microphone class, you know. And yes, there is the SM. No, it's not. It's the MV7. That, even in the updated variant, has micro USB. I am not buying a brand new, very expensive product that has micro USB. GTFO. And yes, there are like newer ones with here XLR to USB adapter. Like it just goes in the stand, the MVX2U. That USB adapter alone, though, right, to USB-C with a headphone monitor, $142. These headphones that you're hearing me on awesomely, I'm sure, are actually I could actually here. Because remember, we have monitoring, don't we? Boop. Yep, so... Yep, so... Yep, so... Wow. Oh... Wow, you do not get much volume out of these. Rough. Either way, really like the design. I guess I wish there could have been better. The sound in here is quite a bit recessed, like in the pair of James Donkey headphones. Dark. But for what I paid for them, fully viable. The only annoying bit is the proprietary, what I believe to be a proprietary cable. So, let me know what you guys think down below. I don't know if I would have joined the Kickstarter. I tend to not join Kickstarters unless I know it's a sure thing. There are places they could have done this better, but James Donkey always, like, they hit it out of the park with, like, the design of the product, like where the knobs are. They look like a realistic place. The mute switch is in a decent place. One thing I did want to test is if I unplug the mic, does it still have mics? Mic plugged in. And I could see there was a mic hole, like here-ish. And there's one under here too. That's an LED. Alright, you can tell I'm tired when I'm monitoring the wrong microphone. Because it has similar volume levels to what this one would have had. But it's on the wall over there. I thought this had an internal mic, that's why I unplugged this mic, because there are holes like it has an internal mic. Kind of like in this region right there. No dice. No dice. Nice to see a side tone. I do wish we didn't have a proprietary USB. Because now, like, this isn't long enough. I have to use an extension. I can't just go and buy a longer USB-C cable. It doesn't just have a 3.5mm jack, so you can't just plug any old 3.5mm into it. Yeah, I would have liked to see, like, it can get crowded when they have 3.5mm and USB-C on one side, so maybe put the 3.5mm on the other side where it's much less likely to be used. Look at that. Dude, that audio is so... 6, 12, 18, 24... See? But it doesn't always... Sometimes I'll get it on 32 somehow. It's like I said, I feel like the clicks are not in sync with the... there's 34. Indeed. So, I do think, like I said, I like this flat headband. It doesn't have much padding, but any of this style kind of fit your head real good. There's a decent amount of ear cup real estate in there. And, yeah, I feel like if they would have put a... There's a little red LED down here. It says it's on. And there's the microphone hole that or that's what I thought was a microphone hole. There's not one on this side. So I thought that might be a microphone hole for... and maybe it was planned to be at some point where if you... Haha, you can't hear me, right? But it's a common thing on newer, especially wireless headphones, where you can yank the mic and you still have like sort of an omnidirectional built into the headphone microphone. And there you go. We still have the natural born player. We'll have to cut this together, and hopefully we'll see you in a future video. Peace.